Hi, this is Apple's latest top-of-the-range iPhone, the iPhone 16 Pro. You can see this one. It's the natural titanium colour, and it's in a case I got off the internet. And at the front, you've got the Apple screen protector. I think it's a great phone all around. It's got the Apple A18 chip and a fast 5G modem. In fact, I think it's got the the Qualcomm X71 modem. There are some references to that, although some other reports say it's the X75 modem. There was a strip down of it, I think, and it was showing something different to the X75, but somewhere on the web there were reports of the speed being much faster than the previous iPhone 15 Pro Max, which I had. Which had the Qualcomm X70 modem. Not that 5G is any faster than 4G where we live here in West Yorkshire. Beautiful phone. As I say, I put this case on off the internet there, which was about £50 odd, £56. Got the screen protector on. I always look after phones like that, and you can see now I'm filming this review actually held over a blanket here to make sure I don't drop it or damage it. Straight to the important thing. Why would I buy this phone as opposed to the 15 Pro Max? Why did I sell that? Well, for one thing, it's heavier. The Pro Max, the 16 Pro Max, tried it in the Apple Store. It's even bigger and even heavier than the 15 Pro Max. However, the 14 Pro Max before that was even heavier because that had I believe it had a stainless steel frame, that one. The important thing for me, you'd probably be surprised where I bought it, and that was for the sound settings. We'll just sort of look into that here. Go to mind, I'm 76 now, so this is also for older people to look at regarding iPhones. It's sort of called a premium material that it's made of. It's basically a glass sandwich. It's sort of glass on the front and back. And of course you've got the electronics inside the chip, which is an almost miraculous thing if you were born in the 1940s like I was and were used to sort of thermionic valves and things, and also if you were used to sort of the very early materials that were after glass, which is thousands of years old, of course. Glass was Bakerlite. I remember being 10 years old in 1958 and dropping a product that was made of Bakelite and it just broke in two. I was disparaging towards that, and my father said to me Bakelite was actually a wonder material back in the 1920s. When he was got sort of thoughts of why is it glass front and back? You know, I suppose that phone companies make products that will actually sell. I think Apple tried to make a plastic phone, which I think is the premium material, with the iPhone 5C, but that didn't seem to be popular at all. If you want to know what my perfect phone material would be, well, I sort of achieved that here by putting this sort of modern thermoplastic case over the top of the iPhone there at the back, with a lip at the front. But the LG V10, which I imported from Hong Kong, I think it was, or Singapore, back in around about 2017, that had a rubberized back on it. It wasn't even imported into the UK because I think people didn't want to buy such a thing. So it has to be glass. In my opinion, if you want to know what a really premium material is, if you look at the Samsung phones from about 10 years ago, you could run your nail along the back and just very carefully take off the back cover. It was thin and light as a feather, even lighter than a feather, I think, wasn't it? But, you know, here we are, and in my opinion, sort of have to deal with what it is, because it's a superb phone. Those cameras are a big step up regarding light. I can imagine at some point in the future, perhaps, where the optical elements of that will be much smaller. But here it is, bought in October on the very Saturday of launch in the UK. I went in early morning to the Apple store. there was a queue starting to form outside, and I bought one without an appointment. This is at Meadowhall Apple Store in Sheffield. I bought one without an appointment. They had a natural titanium colour in the back, so I bought that one right there and then. It was advertised with Apple Intelligence. Even now, right at the end of November, no Apple Intelligence that I'm aware of on the phone. Apple Intelligence will be better than some of the AI, artificial intelligence things that I tried about a year ago. I won't name it, but I mean, for my job, part of my work was to write reports. And back in about 1980, I'm sort of well into my 30s then, and dictaphones came in, you know, those things with a little tiny tape that you put inside, handheld. They were a revolution for me in the sense that I could then sort of go out interviewing, read someone's file, and then in a very, very quiet place where there were no phone calls, I could then sort of hold that in my head and put it straight onto a tape, onto a dictaphone, put that into typing, and there'd be a 500-word report come out the next day for me to sort of proofread. And proofreading is the thing, because what I did with that artificial intelligence that I'm talking about last year, I asked for reports on the best camera video application in the App Store, you know, for making videos. And you can see on here I've actually got iMovie, which is the one I use now most of the time. And I asked various parameters. Now I am good at giving prompts, so I got 200 word reports back on 10 of the best applications, you know, video makers. And then I asked for 500-word reports. And it was incredible seeing these reports churned out. And I stood there sort of absolutely spellbound looking at the output from the thing, you know, and there I had 10 500-word reports, and I read them. And skimming through them, there was just one thing that seemed a little bit off, and that's two of these applications, although located in different areas, had the same, absolutely the same office number in Silicon Valley. The same address, same number, phone, same address number. That sort of flagged something up for me a bit. And anyway, I bought the leading one, the leading one that the artificial intelligence app suggested was the best one, and it spent 500 words going into this. Wow, you know, it would have taken me more than a week to write those reports, much longer to do the research and everything. Well, the one I bought turned out to be absolutely terrible, the most archaic and difficult thing to operate, whereas something like iMovie or another one that I use, you know, pretty good like that. You know, you just can make a video in no time being in shot there. That's also a good one. But this artificial intelligence recommended another one. It was so bad, so archaic, so difficult to use. Apple, again, that's another good attribute of Apple as a company. They refunded my money on it, which was 30 quid, about £30, UK pounds. And it was terrible. So the other thing is I noticed a reluctance with artificial intelligence. Again, this is not Apple artificial intelligence, but one of the other ones. A reluctance to actually give the negatives in a situation. It would sort of give positives, glowing positives about everything, but not write the negatives, the real negatives about things, which of course we all know are there in life. So I'm sort of waiting with bated breath, as it were, to see what Apple Intelligence throws up. I'm understanding that a lot of it will be processed on the phone itself, which is good for privacy, of course, and that would be sort of really well worth waiting for. Why iPhones? Why not an Android phone? Again, I think the crunch is when you have to put your banking on a phone. Now, everything I do is on this phone. I don't have a computer. Every single thing. I mean, I've got this Apple Watch Ultra, which I've done a review on before, and banking on that. I used to be a bit of a Luddite before the COVID pandemic 3 or 4 years ago, but then I realised I had to have banking on the phone. So, of course, you want the best and most secure device for that, you know, when money's involved. So that's when we switched to iPhones. Now, I mean, if you've still got an older iPhone, and bearing in mind my hobby is videography, and I've done about 167 videos at the time using iPhones. I'll just sort of a word of caution with this, because this phone, the 16 Pro, sorry, and also the 16 Pro Max, the 15 Pro and the 15 Pro Max, in other words, this year's and last year's top phones from Apple don't have a 3x optical zoom. They've got the 0.5, the 1x, the 2x, then it jumps to 5x. Now, many times I'm taking a video and I want just go straight to 3x, and it's not there. I'll sort of go to, let's just consider, for example, the iPhone 12 Pro Max that I had some years ago. Now, that's an old phone now, and yet I just invite you to look at the quality of that. I did a video at Bridlington Harbour, and it is called Bridlington's underwater toilet, Bridlington's secret underwater toilet. Now, that's actually filmed. It's a popular video on my channel. It's filmed at 1080p, 60 frames a second, and I think that video looks as good as the latest outputs, you know, from these phones. But then again, I think lighting and framing are the most important things, and that sort of gets, you know, is the forefront of everything, really, the lighting. Something else, I'll just reflect on form and function for a moment. I mean, I'm very much, you know, a function before form sort of guy, you know, and I realise, you know, Apple seems to have you know, an image. You've got to sell phones, basically, haven't you, really? But let me just take you through what it involves taking a video with this phone. We'll just use the other hand here, open the camera, if I can do that. Here we are. And here we've got the interface. Now, when I'm walking along the street, I've got three fingers basically here at the top of the phone. You can see how my hand is. 3 fingers there, thumb underneath like that. Now, I've got this rubberized sort of case on, so there's some grip. Now, imagine my fingers at the other end. I'm walking like that, and I'm sort of moving it like this. I'm not using a gimbal because I think that's wagging about on a stick on the end of your wrist. You've got better fine motor control using your finger and thumb, and the you know, the more delicate control of your fingers and your wrist in that sense there. Now, reaching this, the new camera button, I found that for me totally useless. It's in a position where you can't I can't get to it to do anything with it at all. Even if that case wasn't there with the recess, still wouldn't be able to handle it while filming. So what I'd typically do is I'd put my hand down here and switch to, let's just show you, switch to video mode. I'll just need to move that aside for a moment. Switch to video mode there. Okay, and I'm on 1x lens now. I'm filming away. Start a video like that. Now you can see it counting down there. It's taking a video. Now, doesn't have a pause button. On your Android phones, your Samsung and so on, you got a pause button. No pause button. So touch that. That video clip then goes into the photo storage, and then you've got to start another video clip. So you probably end up with 50 or 60 or 100 video clips. However, look at this. First of all, imagine me walking along the street there outside. You see how small relatively those little buttons are there. Those little on-screen buttons for the 0.5, 1x and so on lens. Now imagine the sunlight's on it and I'm walking along. I think they could do to be bigger. But look at this. Video there, cinematic there, which is a sort of a shorter focus thing that you can use just to sort of bring something into focus a few feet or a yard or two away from the phone. But when you're taking it in a landscape, it just blurs out the distance, which is what it's designed to do. It's not designed actually for sort of being on, say, Bridlington Pier and filming Flamborough Head. You can catch it by accident by just literally like that, touch it like that. Then you're stuck on it then, and everything's blurred in the distance. You've got to notice it and then go back, because what happens is your finger grows out there to touch the tiny 0.5 button. Sometimes it does that again, which screws things up in my opinion. But if you can just get it just right, again, look, all of this can happen while you're filming. Then you have to stop it like this, like that. and then try and get it back onto 1x like that. Now we'll start the video again. I'm filming on 1x. I want the 0.5. You've got to be very careful with it like that. Moving on from the camera,
not to catch the cinematic.
There, just gone into the mobile service now, and you'll see that the settings there, it's on Wi-Fi calling on. The mobile data and roaming options, you click on that, mobile data. Now, data roaming obviously applies to roaming aboard. Now 5G on, 5G auto means it switches as and when necessary for performance and so on to 5G. And 5G on means it's locked onto 5G. 4G on means it's using the LTE on the phone, the 4G. And I think the modems in modern phones, all of them now are on about the 20th iteration of the modem, you know, for 4G. It's really stable and it's been there for so long. Now with certainly where we are in West Yorkshire with 5G, it's often not as good as 4G, and perhaps some of that is due to some of the Chinese infrastructure having to be stripped out. I think it's WeWa infrastructure having to be stripped out of some of the telecom networks. But what about sort of data? Because if you have 5G on, standalone is an issue there, you know. Excuse me. 5G auto, go back, and it tells you something here. Allow more data on 5G. Now I've just realised that if you want the very best experience on one of these iPhones, the 16 Pro and Pro Max, you probably need an unlimited data plan and have it on 5G all the time and allow more data on 5G, because I've just been reading from Apple's own site that if you want sort of apps to behave better, even third-party apps on the phone regarding having access to more data, you need to set it on to 5G. So to leave that on, 5G on, it's a pity there isn't an option to sort of have it on 4G and still allow more data. So certainly just for the moment I've got an unlimited data plan on this phone for that reason. The other thing that's about it for this quick review on some of the features that perhaps might not have been discussed too much on iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max reviews. In summary, a superb phone. I find it a little bit on the heavy side, but nowhere near as heavy as the new larger 15 Pro Max. It's absolutely fine for my usage, and in particular as a video recording device to put videos onto YouTube. I don't see tremendous improvements in the cameras. They're certainly there regarding low light and so on, but the big perhaps things are in sort of diminishing returns there at the moment, but the big jump forward, and it's not just my opinion, it really is a big jump forward, is the wind noise reduction when you're making videos outside. That alone makes it worth buying this phone. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take care now. Goodbye for now.